Well. Yesterday it was Vancouver and Calgary. Today, it's Vancouver, Edmonton, and San Jose. Because today we're talking about Chicago Blackhawks forward Lukas Reichel and some of the latest trade talk regarding him and which teams that could be interested. Spoiler alert, I kind of already told you. But Lukas Reichel is a really interesting name and a name that I like a lot as a hockey prospect fan. Reichel, unfortunately, is not a prospect anymore, but he is 23 years old, 6 feet, 170 pounds, a winger center who can play confidently down the middle and who is signed till the end of this upcoming year at $1.2 million a year. His contract will expire as an RFA, and he was a former 17th overall pick by the Chicago Blackhawks back in 2020. He was taken in that weird COVID draft where we had far too long to analyze the draft picks of the draft class, and we waited an entire summer's worth of time before the draft was held virtually in October. But Lukas Reichel is a guy who, if you take a look at the scouting report here, he is an unrelenting forechecker and backchecker, never giving up on the play and winning battles through second efforts. Reichel is a pretty capable puck handler too, even at top speed, carrying the puck through a defender's triangle, showing a predilection for outside-in maneuvers and deploying weight shifts to avoid contact. The Elite Prospects Scouting Draft Guide had Reichel back in the day as a high-upside B-grade prospect. They said his skating was a 6 out of 10, his passing and puck handling and physical game were a 5.5 out of 10. It was pretty good. And in that season, he was playing for Eisbären Berlin, getting 24 points in 42 games played. Really strong production for a 17, 18-year-old playing in the top pro men's league in Germany. That production carried over into the next season, and then inevitably the Chicago Blackhawks and Rockford IceHogs organizations. He was a point-per-game player with the Rockford IceHogs and had 23 games and 15 points with the Blackhawks in 22-23. This stat line is really good, and you would hope that that would improve year over year. The only problem is, it didn't for Lukas Reichel. The season after he had 15 points in 23 Chicago games, he had 16 points in 65 games, so a significant decline in point production per game out of the German forward. This season he had 22 points in 70 games played, not nearly as good as 15 points in 23 games, but still a little better than what he had accomplished prior. It was kind of a rough go this previous few years for Lukas Reichel. He was over a point per game for Team Germany at the World Championships, if that means something. He was over a point per game the past 2 years in the tournament. But now, thinking about Chicago, they're in a spot where this guy could be on the market, and we have a number of inside sources that are linking various teams to him. Like the Fourth Period over here, who posted an article yesterday talking about how the Blackhawks are trying to trade forward Lukas Reichel. Let's go out there and read this piece. It'll be linked in the description below, as are most of David Pagnotta's articles. The Chicago Blackhawks have actively been exploring the trade market in an attempt to move forward Lukas Reichel. He's in the final year of a 3-year, $2.4 million contract and is eligible to become an RFA next summer. Blackhawks GM Kyle Davidson has been engaged in talks with multiple teams about Reichel, who is open to a change of scenery as his opportunities in Chicago have seemed to be dwindling. Speaking with the Fourth Period's David Pagnotta and Dennis Bernstein in late August in Milan during the NHL/NHLPA European Media Tour in an interview with SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. What a sentence. That's so long. Reichel expressed his excitement for the season, even after suffering an AC sprain during the World Championships. The Vancouver Canucks, Edmonton Oilers, and San Jose Sharks are among the teams believed to have interest in Reichel, who was drafted 17th overall by Chicago in the 2020 draft. In 70 games last year with the Blackhawks, Reichel had 8 goals and 14 assists for 22 points. So there you go, David Pagnotta's linking Vancouver, Edmonton, and the San Jose Sharks to Chicago forward Lukas Reichel. And it's not even just the Fourth Period going out there and talking about this stuff. We had ourselves Jim Matheson saying this on Twitter yesterday. As tweeted yesterday, the Oilers are kicking tires on German-born forward Lukas Reichel in Chicago. He was a Bowman first-round pick in 2020 when Bowman was the Hawks GM. Bowman liked Reichel's skill. The current regime, not so much, as they say. He badly needs a change of scenery. Now, where he fits here at $1.2 million is debatable. Now, that also is something you have to pay attention to as well. The guy that drafted Lukas Reichel is now in Edmonton, and he seems to like the guy a lot more than the current Chicago regime does. So one may ask, hey, what would Edmonton be willing to give up for him? Hawks fan here, so I'm curious about the return could be. Harry and Misa says the Hawks are selling low. They just want to get him off the team. It seems like he's getting no more opportunities. In these types of situations, the return is usually future considerations or a very awful draft pick. Now, I wouldn't necessarily prefer if Lukas Reichel, of all people, was traded for just a measly draft pick, but I guess you can compare this situation to another one that Edmonton has seen prior to. Mark Spector tweeted this out on September 30th. Lukas Reichel will draw interest for sure in Edmonton. Bowman drafted him in Chicago and now needs to get younger in Edmonton. Reichel is soft and likely not the top 6 center Chicago hoped he'd be. He needs a fresh start, like Podkolzin, in a place where he is not seen as a first-rounder. Now here's the thing, Podkolzin was taken 10th overall, Reichel 17th. And the fact that Podkolzin ended up getting traded to Edmonton for a 4th-round pick kind of spells what could be in store for Lukas Reichel here, as to him potentially getting moved, but not for anything super significant. Say what you want about whether or not he should be worth more, but that's just kind of how it is. He's not really been progressing, and the Blackhawks want this guy off the team. Also mentioning the fact that Leon Draisaitl exists in the Edmonton Oilers organization. Obviously, there'd be some sort of a camaraderie there between the two young German dudes. Young? Draisaitl young? I mean, he's what? 29 years old? He's not old, I guess. But it's not even just Edmonton that we have seen Lukas Reichel get tossed around as an option for as well. Take a look at this. Canucks News Summaries went out there and posted a recap of Frank Seravalli's interview on Halford and Bruff earlier yesterday. And you can see the talk about Reichel is included here. Frank Seravalli spoke out about Reichel on Vancouver Sports Talk Radio. It wouldn't surprise Frank if the Vancouver Canucks were interested in Reichel. The Blackhawks are likely to be trading him in the next 5 to 6 days, or even earlier. The acquisition cost is only a mid-round pick, which is very similar to the Vasily Podkolzin stuff, and Reichel needs a top 6 opportunity. The thing is, assuming the Vancouver Canucks don't automatically give a spot to Max Sasson or a Braden Coots, Lukas Reichel could potentially be a center option that makes a lot of waves. Not saying he'd be the perfect replacement, not saying he's a bona fide top 6 center, not even saying that he's fully better than a Jack Roslovic or whatever. But he is young, and he does have a sky-high ceiling that was displayed in his earlier years in the AHL and in the German League. So I do question whether or not Vancouver would fully be getting involved here. As for the San Jose Sharks, they have themselves a lot of young guys already. I mean, Michael Misa, Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, the vibes are high in San Jose. Getting another young player who's got good offensive potential in Reichel would probably be up their wheelhouse, just to give Tyler Toffoli a little bit more babysitting duty. But San Jose being interested in one of the top young guys available on the market, that's not surprising to me. I do think more so of the conversation that's interesting, at least, lies with the Canucks and the Oilers. So if you're a fan of either of those teams, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about Lukas Reichel potentially being targeted by your squads? Blackhawks fans, what do you want in return for this player? He was a 17th overall pick 5 years ago, and now you could be trading him for a lot less than that. What do you think you're going to be able to get for this guy? If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you did not, then please click the dislike button. Comments help out with the algorithm, so I hope you get involved in the conversation. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.